What's up, everyone? Welcome to the first episode of It's Easy to Like Anime, previously known as It's Okay to Like Anime. We decided to switch it up. Hope you like the name a little bit better. I'm Michael Damiani, kind of your host, and I'm joined by Ben Moore,
Yo.
Michael Huber,
Yo.
and we're here to talk about episode 1 of season 2 of One Punch Man.
One
Punch! So just a quick few things to get out of the way. Sorry we were so late today. We just had a lot of stuff. The group stream ran a little bit late. In the future, we'll try and work out the scheduling a bit better so that we actually hit the time that we want to start each week.
I also had to rope you in for a syndrome.
Yeah,
Both of these guys.
that
Please be
too.
excited.
So
And we had to shoot a promo for Spoiler Mode. We shot a lot of
we
videos.
forgot
We've
we forgot some stuff
Since the end of the
beforehand.
stream.
But hopefully it's gave some of you more time to watch the episode and prep for this. But let us know if you liked it starting a little bit later. Also, thank you to Chris LaRue for the graphics we have so far. These lower thirds we've got.
Gives me a Comic Zone vibe.
Yeah, it's nice. I like
Sure.
it. I bet the one font right here, it's easy to like anime. It's the My Neighbor Totoro font. I loved it. It was like it's
Nice.
jolly, it's jovial. It was like just loved it.
Man, I'd love to talk about that movie in an official Easy A capacity someday.
someday it will. We gotta
One
make
of
it
my
happen.
favorites.
Gotta make it happen. But we're actually here. The logo, different intros, like stuff like that is in the works. So just bear with us as because the original plan actually was to do Attack on Titan at the end of the month, and we thought we had even more time. But this is what it is, and we're doing One Punch Man season 2, and that's actually what we're here to talk about. Before we dive in, just real quick, I just want to get your quick, what were your overall impressions of season 1 of One Punch Man?
I tried watching it a couple years ago when the hype was at a fever pitch. I watched one episode and I liked it, but I didn't love it. I don't know why, because humans are moody people. I was probably in a bad mood. Who
Okay.
knows? Went back, watched the entire series over the last 2 days, and I loved it. Absolutely
Nice.
loved it. Loved
Glad
the
to hear
comedy
that.
aspect.
Yeah.
My biggest concern was how are they going to keep the stakes with him because he's just so powerful. But I thought they did a really good job about just his internal struggle, his search for a fight. I think of the Sea King battle was definitely one of the biggest,
Yes.
and they did a really good job of kind of keeping him away from it.
Yes.
The rainstorm and everything. So there were stakes there, and I thought it played really well.
Great points, yeah.
So I watched it when it originally came out, and I hadn't watched it since then. And so revisiting it, it was even funnier than I remembered. Particularly the first episode with that dream sequence, I just thought was hilarious. I found myself chuckling out loud a couple of times, and so I really liked that. But I think what most impressed me about season 1 is you have this show that's kind of interrupting these villains as they're giving these grand speeches and is being humorous. But it actually does a pretty great job of slowly building up the world and the Hero Association in a way that it doesn't feel overwhelming or that it's happening all at once. And there's kind of a nice expansion of everything that is going on. But they still keep it intimate with Saitama and Genos and Moomin Rider, who is the best for sure. But I liked it. I was happy that I rewatched it because I enjoyed it quite a bit.
Yeah, that's pretty much a lot of what you both said echoes my sentiments as well. I just loved how, for me, the humor and writing did catch me right away, Huber. I think maybe, just going 3 or 4 episodes in, it felt really good to me. That hooked me in. But what I love to see is how the series evolved from just individual episodes that were essentially Monster of the Week to... There's some deeper layers here. Stuff that Ben just talked about. I love that you said they kept Saitama away from the Deep Sea King episodes for the most part to the end, because you got to see heroes in situations that weren't glamorous. It's I love the message with Moomin Rider that anyone can be a hero at any time, and no matter how futile it seems, just him standing up to that, the amount of courage that took, bought time for people to arrive and stuff like that. I just loved how, I think we'll see a little bit of it come back in episode 1 here for season 2, but the arc with Saitama about him constantly having his credit, like everyone doubts him.
Yeah.
He's just so powerful. It's just so unbelievable. And people, like other people being around him, getting credit for it a bit by association, and him being ranked so low and stuff is just funny. But yeah, just a good time all around, and
just like making fun of anime tropes too.
Yes.
Like when Genos is like explaining the backstory.
Yeah.
I remember in one of the earlier episodes.
Yes.
He's like talking really fast, and he keeps talking about the lore, and then this and this and this, and it's just like
When Saitama's like, please get out of my home.
yeah.
Just bouncing off what you said really quick, something I want to bring up about Saitama is, I love how the show never keeps him in one place for too long, where he's bored of his strength and he thinks that, like, you know, taking the test and becoming an official hero might liven things up, that recognition would be good. But it's not like he's this attention-seeking dude where he has a chance to take all the credit for the Sea King, but he doesn't, and they just kind of keep shifting him around and turning him. And there's a lot more depth to him than they initially show, and they just kind of slowly reveal it, and they keep finding new ways of making him an interesting character, and I really appreciate
favorite moment. I'm glad you mentioned that. For sure.
Yes.
When he gives everyone else credit, it's unreal.
And final shout outs at like that final battle with Boros, the animation in that. So I know that's a little bit of a concern coming into season 2, but that also was a huge highlight for me for season 1, was just that epic fight where finally didn't take just one punch.
Yeah.
It took they basically go and then they go at each other with their ultimate moves.
Yeah.
And then standing there in ruins, he's like, good fight and stuff, and he goes, no, not. He goes, you're just lying to me. Like, I wasn't even close, was I? It was like ultimate powers. Like, you're on a whole other level. And so it was like, yeah, you're strong though. Don't worry. I was like, oh, you're so humble. But let's get into this first episode of season 2, and just what did you think of this? What were your thoughts?
My personal big takeaway, the word that pops immediately in mind is structure. I actually love how this opening episode of the second season was structured, because if you've only been watching the anime, it has been forever since that first season, unless you rewatch like us. And I love that they just open with Saitama and Genos, and they don't dump all of this stuff like, here's the Hero Association, here are all these heroes, here's everything that's going on. They keep it really small, they kind of focus on the core of the series, they have a fight to kind of liven things up, and they focus on King, somebody that we know, but we don't know really anything about. Mm-hmm. And so they kind of use this episode to get us back into the swing of things with King, who is really funny and way different than I ever expected. And then slowly they kind of bring that Hero Association stuff back into the fold. And it just felt like a really good, very watchable structure that kind of remained exciting and humorous and light all the way through. Like they kind of brought a deceptive amount of stuff in too, when you think about like Genos and the stuff that they were hinting on in his storyline. Like it actually went a bunch of different directions, but because of how they set it up, it never felt overwhelming, which I liked.
Totally. Said it perfectly.
Yeah, as Sesame said in chat, it did feel like a recap episode without being a pure recap episode.
Sure, yeah.
Like it had an element of that going for it.
Yeah.
But what about you, Huber? How did you like episode 1?
Really liked it. I do want to comment on the fight scene.
Okay,
yeah.
I was a little underwhelmed by it.
Yeah, me too.
I don't want to bring in the negative vibes, but I do got to call it out, because Genos fighting in season 1 was always a pleasure. Mm-hmm. The way he just moves, the movement, sliding around, jumping around fluidly, blasting things, and this felt choppy.
Yes.
The fight scene felt a little choppy.
There you go.
I didn't feel the stakes as much as I wanted to. So in the fight, I was disappointed, but obviously in the character development, I was surprised and blown away by that even more so.
Huber, it's my biggest complaint with the episode. I felt like everything was like too close all the time. And I think about One Punch Man season 1, and you are dealing with these characters that are some of the strongest that we've seen, and the way that they would emphasize that is like you would have Genos do a blast, and they would pan out, and you would just see the absolute chaos and destruction that this character caused, and there were so many other characters that you got the same sense. Whereas here, because it was like so tight and so zoomed in, I just didn't get that sense of scale and destruction that I will with a lot of the fights in season 1. So the fight scene was definitely like my biggest disappointment for sure. I'm with you 100%.
Oh yeah, that's a very good points on that. I have a question real quick, because I'm not sure if I'm misremembering this. Even though Saitama is the one that defeats like the bird creature monster, we don't actually see Saitama fight in this episode, do we?
No.
Not even that punch.
Yeah.
Just
Because it's like King's perspective or whatever. He's shutting his eyes.
Yeah.
And they kind of did stuff like that in season 1, I feel like, where it was kind of just like, all right, fight's over, but we like didn't really see it.
Yeah.
I feel like there was a moment like that in season 1.
Yeah, I really like the kind of like dynamic between Saitama and King, because the story set up. I mean, it's very like it becomes very predictable, but then it becomes a little unpredictable. Like you didn't expect like their bond, them to bond like that. But I mean, that's what I was alluding to earlier, is that King was basically what Saitama was being accused of, was what King actually was in reality.
Yeah.
And even see through the flashback sequences, even Saitama saved him. Like I love Saitama's origin arc about like the whole thing about saving the kid. That's why the Hero Association was founded. And then like seeing him also in his early days with hair, and then seeing that realization. But yeah, as Ben said, like seeing them get buddy playing the games together. Like basically, Saitama's asking him hard questions. It's like, you have two options here. You can either retire, but you can also still lie and be a hero. And like, what do you want to do? And I like that Saitama was like, this is like your choice stuff, like, but I understand like why you did what you did and stuff. And it was just a nice perspective to have on that. And like, it shows the depth to Saitama's character, I feel like. And I love that. Yes.
Like deceptive layers, he gives off just this like attitude, but he's like so smart. He's awesome.
Something that I loved with there were a lot of things that I loved with the King Connection. A lot of things to go into there, but something that I really, really, really liked is in season 1, we see Saitama before he's this One Punch Man hero, and then we see him afterward, and we don't really get a sense of the in-between of what the process was like in becoming that. Mm-hmm. He obviously talks about it, there are allusions to it, there are brief scenes with it, but I really like being like, oh no, this is something that he did earlier on. We see him with the hair, we see kind of this in-between period, and if they use King as a vehicle to explore that even more throughout the season, I think that would be pretty exciting.
For sure.
For me personally. And man, just like King being a game-loving dweeb was so heartwarming, man.
So good.
And I can't believe that the subtitle was "My Body is Ready."
It's a
perfect time, like the week Reggie's last week.
Yeah.
That was obviously a nod. But that's kind of like one of the things I hope going forward. An expectation I will have is them diving deeper into the characters, because we got a few peelbacks on some of the main characters, but there's this whole hero society, and all these characters just have like a few moments in the spotlight towards the end of last season, and now they're introducing new heroes. And I was like, I would like to see them show more of their backstories. I want to get to know them, and I hope they keep it tight knit like that. Like each episode just has focus on a few and doesn't get too ridiculous, like too large of a lineup.
I was going to say the same thing. Because there were heroes that we really got set up on. Like I think Tornado is a good example, where it's like, wait, you kind of set up this character who seems super important at the end of season 1. Like it seems like we're just set to get to know more about them, and I hope that happens sooner rather than later. And I agree. I don't want it to be like, hey, here's a ton of heroes and about 50% of them feel like you can discard them. Like I don't want that. I want to care about as many of them as possible.
Definitely planting more seeds with Genos makes me nervous. I'm really nervous for him to get like corrupted or hacked or taken over. Like the last thing I want is for him and One Punch Man to brawl.
It's gonna happen.
Like I'm terrified of it.
I would almost guarantee it.
I don't want it. I don't want it.
Man, every time it's Genos and the Doctor, whose name I can't remember, I just think of Mega Man and Dr. Light. Every time. Every time. Yeah.
It's so funny too that he's the Doctor even points out that his like goal has shifted from finding this robot that was responsible for devastating his hometown to Saitama's kind of like BS advice back in season 1, where he's trying to like desperately think of something when he took him as a disciple, saying you should strive to become the top 10 in the S class, which actually isn't necessarily bad advice, but he's still following through on it. He's like, I gotta get there, I gotta rank up and stuff, and he's still adhering to that, and it's kind of like, interesting to see. But yeah, the doctor warns him. It's like, what? He's like, what are you really seeking now? Like, it sounds like you're having more fun being this hero, doing this hero gig than actually trying to fulfill this.
Yeah.
And it's like,
and at the end of season 1, the other like metal dude says, "Hey, Metal Knight or whatever is coming after you." So I hope they don't discover a way to like control Genos or something, or like use him as a weapon.
Right.
Like Dark Genos.
It's gonna become one of the Mavericks.
Red eyes.
One of the Mavericks. Yeah. Definitely. One of the things that we got to see in this episode was we got to peek inside the New Hero Association, and kind of like what's been going on in the wake. And one of the important things was in the last season we were told about from the seer, who also I forget their name.
Yeah.
The old woman. She had a prophecy about in 6 months the Earth's doom prophecy, or Doom's Earth prophecy, whatever it was, that's gonna happen within 6 months. And I just assumed it was the alien invasion.
Me too.
And we learn now that that's actually not it. That all signs point that it is something else. Things are escalating, and that like they're actually kind of like short on heroes.
Yeah.
So they're open to recruiting villains to fight for them.
Dude.
Yeah. How do you feel about that?
This.
Dude? Yeah.
Uneasy Alliance. These guys looked epic. I'm in. I'm all in on these guys. They're like face turn. I'm ready.
Dude, okay, you just made me think of it because you were talking about Genos and One Punch Man, Saitama eventually fighting and him being like corrupted or something. Because like Genos wants to have this vengeance. He's on this quest. What if he starts talking to a villain that is like, "Hey man, I can show you a better way than Saitama." And he switches and becomes a disciple of somebody else, and then he gets pitted against his former master. I can see it happening.
Yeah, a lot of possibilities with the villains I'm excited about for sure. Do you think that they can nerf Saitama ever? Do you think that'll ever be a thing where like, kryptonite or like another alien comes and it's like, well, all right, Goku just came, so now you actually have someone to fight.
Yeah.
Like,
I thought about that with season 1. I was like, hey, how long could this happen?
Yeah.
And I wonder if I feel like nerfing Saitama or just having somebody way stronger than them like might be the easy way out. Like I think it's not the easy way out, but like that's what you would expect them to do.
Yeah.
And I think it might be more interesting if they kind of work around that limitation in more creative ways. Like he could defeat them in one punch, but for a moral reason he can't.
Yeah.
Or he has some connection
like
to
Genos, dude, he doesn't want to like attack him or something.
And so something more than just like limiting his power or amping up somebody else, like something that gets you a little bit more invested, I think would be super cool.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
They continue some plot lines with some of the characters that could be perceived as villains. Speed of Sound Sonic, redundancy
True.
name right there, is just dead set on having this fight. They thought they lost because they weren't ready for him, didn't have the weapons and stuff, and they're like hunting them down. And it's like, are they really going to try and fight them after everything they've seen? Or are they trying to team up with them? Like, I think that's misdirection. I don't think I think there will be rivals, but I think maybe
Friendly
Sonic
rivalry.
wants to help out in their own way.
Yeah.
But we do see Hellish Blizzard, who we see them in the first season, but a little bit more proper introduction this time, wants to, like, they know more about Saitama now. They want to find out the source of Saitama's power.
Yeah.
It seems like that might be one of the driving factors, is that not necessarily nerfing Saitama, but other people catching up to Saitama.
Sensu beans or something. Like.
Potentially.
I don't know if you guys saw this, but at the like next episode preview that they did in season 1, Blizzard was doing the voiceover, and she was like, "Oh man, I can't wait to like show up next episode and like really reveal myself." And then she's like, "Oh wait, I'm not really in the next episode. Oh damn it!" So it's cool to actually see her in season 2, episode 1.
That's hilarious.
At the end, get a little bit of a spotlight.
That is hilarious.
Kind of missed that. Maybe they'll do it in other episodes, but I missed that a little bit. You talked about structure earlier.
Yeah.
The one thing when it ended, the first thing you said pretty much was, where's the opening?
Where's the opening? Yeah.
And then, I could be completely wrong, but the ending I thought was maybe will become the opening. So I'm not sure if they've confirmed one way or the other. But it was a different kind of. It was definitely different enough from the first season, because they had they did have the post scene, the post credit scene with new white-haired looked like the typical rival type, like Vegeta meets what's My Hero's rival for Deku? I'm always forgetting their name. Blast with the
I forget
the B.
What's what? Sorry.
The My Hero rival for Deku.
Oh, Bakugo.
Bakugo. Thank you. Jeez.
Never forget Bakugo.
Yeah, it looked like a Vegeta Bakugo hybrid. Something like that. Thank you, chat. Too. Like what's their story and stuff. Like good tease, like leading in the next one.
Yeah.
But miss that little VO, like kind of like the humorous VO at the end. Just like they kind of punctuated the episode.
Yeah.
Just a little disappointment on that.
Yeah.
But any final thoughts before move on to some quick questions?
Yeah, I think my big wrap up was switching studios. Everybody was very anxious, and I get that. I think that is completely valid to be anxious. Something that you really enjoy. Changing hands is always like a very strange process, and so I kind of went into the episode with a little bit of that apprehension. I don't know if the apprehension helped my viewing, but I enjoyed it. Like, I enjoyed it to the point where I'm excited to see more One Punch Man Season 2. I didn't think it was the most amazing first episode I've ever seen or anything, but there was certainly enough there that I feel way more optimistic about this season than I did before seeing it, which I love.
Yeah, what about you? This is one of the questions I was going to ask. Like, how do you feel the changes that were made between season 1, 2? Did it really impact you outside of like the fight sequence?
Yeah, I mean, I'm like new to it, Okay. Like I just watched season 1, so it's like kind of just like, I didn't have to wait 4 years, which is like, wow.
That might change expectations.
So that's brutal. Waiting 4 years. So for me, there was no stress about it. It's like, all right, cool, more One Punch Man. I'm excited, and it felt like more One Punch Man, which is awesome. Love the way the story went. Yeah, just a little disappointed with the fighting. Hopefully, when there are like real deal fights later on, which I'm sure there will be many.
That Genos Saitama fight.
Exactly.
Better bring the budget.
Yeah, maybe they just like took it easy on this one because it wasn't the focus. Because it was in the background. Like they're gaming while the fight is going down. That was really the focus of it.
Right. Yeah, definitely makes sense.
Quick question though.
What's up?
How many, if you were to do it in episodes, like what episode would the manga be on right now? How far ahead are we talking?
Huber, I have not read the manga.
I don't know, and that's
spoiler territory. I know, no spoilers.
So heads up, chat. If you are just joining for this episode and haven't read anything about what the show is, we are avoiding all manga spoilers.
Yes,
do not post any manga spoilers. We are only watching the anime, and anything beyond where we are in episode 1 of season 2 in the anime is off limits for discussion when we're streaming. Discuss amongst yourselves on your own time. But we're actively avoid that stuff. But you can go ahead and answer.
Just curious if it's like way ahead or like not too far.
Because I was looking at season 1 info earlier, and it seemed like almost like roughly three volumes made up an individual episode of season 1, roughly. So 2 to 3 episodes, I'd guess. So it'd probably be around like
3 volumes or 3 chapters.
Chapters. Sorry,
okay.
chapters. Chapters. Yeah, my bad. Chapters. 3 chapters.
Cool.
I guess anywhere from like 36-ish chapters would make up season 2.
Gotcha.
Yeah, 3 volumes. Yeah, it's gonna be an ep. They cut out a lot.
This show is crazy.
I would say someone chat. I believe it was Fleetwood in chat mentioned. I kind of share their sentiment. This episode makes me feel more optimistic. Hasn't alleviated all the concerns because your discussion about the fight sequence. That I'm waiting to see a big fight sequence, especially involving Saitama, and how that's going to look. But in terms of like the narrative, the writing, I feel like they've still got that. It was great how they flowed from end of season 1 right into this. Like, doesn't seem like that big of a time gap, so it feels like a great starting point. And I feel like it was a good first episode, but not a great first episode. But I think they do need to show something I think they need to go show me something very surprising in episode 2.
I need to say something.
Yeah, what's up, Ben, sir?
Heavy Tank Loincloth.
Yes!
Name I've heard for anything. Like, it's a name that I wish I would have come up with. Heavy Tank Loincloth is like 11 out of 10 good name for a hero. Yeah. It's so good.
Heavy Tank Loincloth.
Give me the Heavy Tank Loincloth spin-off manga right now.
I'm ready for him to mess people up.
Yes. That is the greatest of all the hero names. Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess just like any final like expectations going into like next episode or anything like that.
I like that we came back to slow paced. You know what I mean? the world-ending alien
Yeah.
invasion is cool, but I'm all about going to the ramen shops, gaming with King,
Yes.
walking the streets. So I'm really glad we're at this point, episode 1, season 2. So I hope we at least get a few more episodes like this. I want the slow build-up. I don't want to start ramping up one-punch fights everywhere.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, Huber, I agree with you 100%. It's kind of weird to say this because I want the fights to look as good as possible.
Mm-hmm.
I want them to be spectacular. I want the villains to be menacing. I want just ridiculous, like, oh my god, I can't believe he has that much power moments. But I think at this point in the show, what I'm even more interested in is learning what's going on with Genos, seeing how the relationships evolve, what's going on with the Hero Association. And so just like, even if the fights are not the best, I still think there's enough there for me to dig into and be satisfied in. So that makes me happy. I love that that's not like a deal breaker for me. Like, I'll still watch the show even if the fights are mediocre.
Yeah,
and because I have to for this thing I'm doing. But I just mean personally.
Yeah, that'd be a really bold take for them to go more of like the development side. Like, it has an excellent story, and then cut back on like on the fight sequences or something like that as a trade off. But to instill some hope in the writing and the directorial effort. Czar Krin actually pointed out that the new director has done some of the better arcs, in their opinion, for Shippuden and Gundam Seed.
Ooh.
So they do have some good stories under their belt already. So
great,
nice.
Yeah, that makes me a little bit more
That's
optimistic
always
as well. Yeah,
I always get bummed when I watch anime because they don't have subtitles for the credits. So I can never follow who writes and directs each episode.
Mm-hmm.
Like
that should be on a shirt.
What?
I always get bummed when I watch. I always get bummed out when I watch anime. It's always a bummer to watch anime.
And that'll be the name of
just for the opening credits, it's like, give me that info, because I love following directors.
Yeah, there's some weird thing about opening and endings, FYI, like some behind the scenes knowledge that like the any subtitling of any of that, even just like the lyrics or that, is sometimes like just completely off limits.
Whoa.
Because it's part of the opening and ending.
Yeah.
It's mostly lyrics though. The artist will be, I don't want an official anything but
because they don't want it
language.
out of their control. Yeah.
Because they don't think it will translate right into any other language. So just like, or they won't do it right, and they don't have the time to do it themselves. So it's like, don't do it, not allowed. Which is kind of an interesting thing.
Very interesting.
But I felt pretty good about this. I feel like I've made a good call on going with One Punch Man.
Yes, you did, because I got to watch season 1 and it was awesome. So thank you guys.
Yeah, I also really love discussing this episode by episode because I feel like we can get into a lot more detail. There's a lot. It's not like, okay, we have to cover this entire series. I just think it facilitates discussion a little bit better.
Don't you love when there's only one episode a week of a show, so you can just sit on it and
is this your
binge
thing?
But I like binging. Binging is cool.
No, this is
cool.
dangerous.
This is so nice, dude.
Yes.
We get to think about where this goes now all week.
This is a dangerous drug, Hubert, because this feels really, really good.
Yeah.
And then you know what the problem is when you only have one episode? You just want more. So then you fall down a hole.
True.
And you stay there forever.
Yeah, you need more. You need more. You need more One Punch Man.
Yep.
Yes. So I think that's about going to wrap it up for us. I just want to say that, we will be back. The goal will be to be back next week. I'm going to say 9:30 p.m. to be safe next time. We'll work on the scheduling stuff. Some other things that we'll try and work in as part of the episode so that we have more time next week. Want to pull some more questions from chat. And patron questions. I'm going to make a post asking for some of your questions. Maybe there's something we did not talk about regarding episode 1, or even something about season 2 that you might have you already know, and so you want to ask it in advance, and let's have it ready after we watch the episode. I'll pull from those as well, so we'll get more questions worked in. There's also, I'll give you a sneak preview. We obviously didn't have enough time for this, but eventually I want to work in little clips. So when we're talking about when Huber's talking about the fight sequence in that lower corner right there, we'll have a clip of the fight sequence he was talking about, so you can see it. It'll be muted. It'll be small. I'll probably throw a little bit of text over it, just keep it as safe as possible. But that is a preview of what we'd like to do in future episodes. So apologies, we just don't have enough time to get them made in advance. And just again, this has been a really fun thing to do, and hopefully you liked it. But when I make that post calling for questions, let us know feedback, any suggestions you have, anything you'd like to see us try differently, or what you like we're doing. Also, I keep saying I like a lot, but this will be posted as a VOD. When I get home, I will try and get it up ASAP. That way, for people who have to watch this later or through different means, you won't be able to answer your questions from chat, but you'll still be able to watch what our thoughts are and stuff like that. So let me know in the comments there as well. What would you like to see changed? And anything else that you feel, we're gonna maybe try and shoot it to do the stream in the studio room next time. We're gonna try and figure out how to get the other PC set up to stream.
This
from
room
there.
is pretty anime though.
It's pretty cozy. We'll see. Let us know if you prefer us.
You got the Devil May Cry back there.
You got lightning.
Yeah.
You have Porky Pig.
You have a Shenmue pillow.
An anime original.
Yeah.
Just if you think the audio trade-off, if you like the audio quality better from the studio, you like the framing better, I'm all ears. But thank you both for staying up so late. For us, it's pretty late here.
I was up till 5 watching season 1 last night. Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
I had 6 episodes or 7 episodes left, and I didn't
more than half the season.
Yeah, I didn't start it pretty late.
I broke it up.
Because I was like, oh, it'll go fast, but then you realize when you add up the time, it's wait. No,
it's not that long, but it still takes time. Yeah.
I kind of just thought of you as Moomin Rider, but instead of riding a bike in terrible conditions, you're staying up till 5 a.m. watching anime.
Yeah.
I think the same spirit is there. Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't see him this episode.
No.
He's lurking. He's gonna be Class S when we get back, dude. When we see him.
I hope not. I like the Class C struggle.
Blue collar.
He's the top of Class C. Yeah. He's the working hero.
Does
there.
anyone have a conspiracy theory? Will he go evil?
If he goes evil, I'm done.
Because
I'm walking off the show.
No, never.
My theory in season 1 was that he was another hero in disguise. That he was Mask Dude, Class A rank 1.
Oh, Blast.
No.
No, Class A, Sweet Mask or whatever.
Yeah.
Amurai or whatever.
Yeah, a Kami mask or something. I was like, dude, Moomin Rider.
Anyone else can turn, but Moomin Rider, I can't handle it, man.
Yeah, good.
Definitely. So, we will see you all next week, 9:30 p.m. Pacific. Look out for the posts asking for questions, and I'll put an update in there as well. And, what are you laughing at? What's...
Sasami, if Moomin Rider goes evil, I'm giving up on
Yeah.
Oh no. But
he's too pure.
Yeah.
Yes. Hope you all enjoyed this, and we'll see you all next week. Later.